un peu bizarre.
Ouais. Non, mais je sais pas si c'est fini pour le vrai.
C'est ça.
Ben, check, continue.
Ben, sûrement, parce que c'est marqué beat the game.
Ouais, mais continue pareil, parce que là, il t'a ramené direct dans le jeu. Il t'a pas ramené au
Begin.
gars.
Ouais, c'est vrai.
Il t'a ramené, genre.
Il m'a comme ramené
Là.
au début.
Mais il t'a pas ramené au menu, genre.
Ouais.
Ben, continue, genre.
Je vais sûrement dire la même
All of his
chose.
co-workers
Ouais.
were
Ouais.
gone.
Instant.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Ben, faut dire
Perhaps he had
qu'il y a du
siblings
branching
in
en
memory.
masse aussi. Là.
Ouais. La seule, t'as fait dans le chemin qu'il t'avait proposé, genre.
Ouais. Après avoir fait plein de confusing.
Ouais, mais maintenant que t'aurais fait le chemin qu'il t'a proposé la première fois direct, c'est peut-être ça que t'aurais eu comme fin aussi, là.
Ouais, sûrement.
Je suis sûr que c'est ça que t'aurais eu comme fin. Attends, droite.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Button à
doors,
droite.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Dans le fond, peut-être que t'aurais pu faire ça, le beat the game, en guillemets, genre direct dans ta première run, genre.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Wow. Yes.
What a
This
beautiful
room. What a beautiful room.
Et si je
But
continue, je vais
to
peut-être
get back
te
to
faire
business,
arriver au meeting room.
Stanley took the first open
Meeting
door
room?
on his left.
Ouais.
Ah, peut-être.
Parce que là, je t'ai
Là,
parlé
t'es parti par
là.
là. Si en fait, si tu continues par là, ça va venir au meeting room.
Sûrement.
Je sais pas, en fait, on n'est pas été là. Vas-y, va voir.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Nothing for misuse of cargo lift.
Well.
Jumping off the cargo lift.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. I'm not asking for me,
I'm asking for her.
Tu vois, her. C'est la première fois qu'on entend ça.
Ouais.
Et on est loin d'avoir trouvé ce qu'il est censé faire. Parce que dans le fond, t'as tout fait ce qu'il t'a dit de faire, donc t'étais mind control.
Oh my god. Non, c'est... Fait que c'est clairement, faut juste wander partout.
Ouais.
Ouais.
What?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
Yeah.
To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Ok.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. Alright. Okay, there we go.
Ouais.
Alright, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your
Ok.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? Who would commit their life to you?
Oh my
I'm
god.
trying to
Tu sais,
make
dans
it
ton
obvious,
appartement
Stanley.
427.
Trying to get you to see
En
something.
plus.
Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Ah, vas-y.
C'est encore là? Ouais, ok. Elle va creeper out tout
This
le
is a
monde.
very sad story about the death of a man named
Pourquoi il
Stanley.
y a pas une divan dans mon chemin? Press. Hein?
Press 7 on the keyboard.
Pourquoi?
Je sais pas. Parce que t'es en train de faire la job de Stanley.
Ah! Faut que je pèse sur un piton quand il me dit de quoi de peser.
A
Aussi.
job that demands nothing of him.
Oh,
Every
puis là, on va
button
voir sa
pushes
mort, genre.
is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ben là. Arrête de me demander de peser sur des pitons. Mais je peux comme rien faire.
T'as pas le choix, là.
Look at him there,
Oh.
pushing buttons.
That's
Doing
more get
exactly
busy.
what
Ouais, je
he's
sais, mais ça
supposed
fait
to do.
apparaître de même
Now
différent.
he's pushing a button. Now
Ah ouais?
he's
Ouais.
eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming
Going
back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Au moins ta femme
From
est là.
behind his desk,
Ah, c'est
Stanley
clair.
dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown.
J'ai que ça, c'est
Fantastic
6 là.
discoveries of
C'est
new
des jambes,
worlds.
là.
It was wonderful.
C'est
And each day that he
fantastique.
returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Ok. 6 to watch TV.
and so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Si, il a expliqué ce qui se passe dans le fucking... To spend time with the boys.
So, he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and
Damn
he
it.
could go through either.
C'est ça.
Je l'avais dit que le jeu était pas fini.
Even knowing what lay behind each door, the mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through,
Ça devient genre job à
De
la
plus en
fin.
plus de jobs, plus tu continues, genre.
destinations.
À vouloir faire d'autres choses.
C'est parce qu'à force de travailler, ton lieu de travail devient de plus en plus ta maison.
And down another was a yellow
Ah.
line weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Oh, il a appelé son bébé de Stanley Parable.
Tell your kids a
It
story.
was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived
Il y a
it
même un fucking
again,
câble.
and then again,
Hein?
and again.
Un genre un câble de
Ouais.
casseur.
Wishing beyond hope that it would
Il
never
était là
end,
depuis longtemps encore.
that he might
Ah,
always
je viens juste de
feel
l'en
this
battre.
Il est là depuis le début.
Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one
One
more
more
time.
C'était un autre passe, hein?
Ah ouais?
Ah.
Oh mon dieu.
Ah,
How could there possibly be?
ah, tu vas tellement te ramasser dans ton building. Tu vas
Ah ouais,
faire
check,
ça,
c'est en train de carrément
Ah ouais.
faire le.
Tu es en train de faire ton
bureau.
bureau, le prochain pat, ça va être là, puis on va avoir la ligne jaune à terre.
The more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him
God.
that in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't
He
listen
won't
to me.
listen to
He won't
me. Je
stop.
peux pas vraiment sentir.
Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not
Do it.
To be at work in the morning. Fait que c'est quoi, je pouvais juste attendre?
Je sais pas. Combien de toi? Ou ben c'est genre.
Mais c'est parce
À
que
quel
là, je
point
me
est-ce que-
fais. Ouais, c'est ça.
C'est genre à quel point est-ce que tu perds ton temps avec ça? Attends, on va voir. Je sais pas là à quel point on est. C'est pour tester notre patience, je suis certain.
C'est clair. En même temps, ils viennent de me dire de pas le faire.
Ouais,
Parce que je devais l'écouter.
pèse genre sur Y.
Non, ça fait que. Parce que techniquement, je peux donner ça au W.
Ah, mais c'est pour ça, dans le fond, j'arrive pas le bonheur à matin. C'est à l'heure dans le job, c'est parce que je pèse pas sur U.
Ça, c'est. Parce que si tu pèses sur lui, ben, tu t'en vas.
Je pèse sur U,
au
je
work.
vais à la job. Yeah.
My god. J'ai-tu vraiment supposé de.
Je sais pas, ben, c'est toi qui joues, fais ce que tu veux.
D'accord.
Parce que en ce moment, c'est intéressant à regarder, je suis certain.
Ah ouais, c'est clair. C'est juste. C'est juste la même affaire depuis tantôt.
Tu peux perdre ton temps dans 6 minutes.
Pendant 6 minutes. Mais on va faire un fast forward. Check, c'est le temps qu'on a réussi à waster. Pendant qu'on était. Bon, je vais peut-être abandonner. Parce que je suis.
Yeah.
Oh my god, come on, guys. C'est beau. I quit.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Press for to question
nothing.
nothing. Let's go.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time we'll see. Maybe this time. and I tried again.
Freestyle.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
J'ai genre pesé sur E.
Ok.
Never the Ok.
Fuck.
C'est quoi qui vient de se passer?
Je sais pas.
J'étais pas supposé payer sur un putain.
Mais là, s'il n'y a plus de narrateur, on meurt dans pas longtemps.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ah, c'est comme si ça
Stanley
avait un
decided to
bâtard
go to the
restart.
meeting room.
Ouais.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok, fait que là, les places différentes, ça fait trop différent.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ouais.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
En fond, ça là, ça m'avait rendu direct à la place où j'étais.
And so
Si
he
je veux
detour
Dans la fois, t'es descendu là, je t'ai pas continué.
straight
Ouais,
ahead
c'est
to the opposite door.
Quand je vais descendre là, j'avais pas d'autre chemin, je pense.
Ouais.
Je vais continuer tout droit.
Non, t'es pas venu, ça.
Ah, c'est vrai, je peux
T'es descendu en bas. D'après moi, ça, c'est le même chemin. Si t'aurais tourné à gauche.
Ah,
Ça va t'amener dans
ça
le-
c'est le meeting room.
Ouais.
Ah, ben ouais.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling
ouais, je peux
a
descendre
wave
les
of
escaliers.
disbelief,
Ouais, on peut
Stanley
escape.
decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Parce que tu peux faire l'escape, mais tu peux mettre en on puis off,
Going
tu
to
peux
a
descendre sur
staircase,
l'escalier là.
Stanley
Ah, ouais,
walked
c'est vrai.
upstairs to his
Bah, ouais,
boss's
bah, ouais.
office.
Descendre.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk?
Ouais.
All because he
Pourquoi?
believed
Pourquoi?
everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy.
Ouais.
And then something occurred to
Nice.
T'es en train de louper.
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment, for
Good
no
admit.
reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this,
Ah ouais,
he began to make
je
other
reviens au
strange
début.
observations. For example, why couldn't he
D'après moi,
see
tu vas louper
his
jusqu'à ce qu'il ait
feet
fini son
when he
speech.
looked down?
Genre,
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Hey, attends,
They
attends,
seemed to
attends.
be repeating.
Huh?
No,
Ah,
Stanley
ben là,
said to
arrête un
himself,
peu.
this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had
Un,
been
deux,
on the
huit,
tip of
quatre.
his tongue.
C'est quoi les
He
chiffres?
just hadn't found the
Voilà.
words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh,
C'est
what a
clair.
relief Stanley
Bah, je
felt
pense que c'est
to
ça.
have
Ouais,
finally
c'est
found an
clair.
answer, an explanation. His co-workers were
Okay.
actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after
Fucked
all.
up.
And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently
speak.
float above the ground. Then he imagined himself
What?
soaring through space
J'étais en train de
on a
flotter.
magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun,
God,
and
he's-
Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up.
Nice.
How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head
Dictating
dictating
everything
everything
that
that
I'm
I'm doing
doing.
and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
C'est cool le texte.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, He knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. Everything will be fine. I am...
C'est clair. I am okay, c'est quoi déjà? Je vais restart, non. Ah, mais non, je t'avais placé.
Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss, I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? And everything went black.
Bad.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself.
Oh my God.
On the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my life. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay.
Super.